Grant me the power to find those who...
Why are you here?
To see my people again. Is all I dreamed of.
Very, very feisty, eh?
Or we both die. Awaits us.
Like the woman.
It will be every tribe, every people who defy him.
And all of your kind are relics from the past. I am the future!
It's now or never.
Red Sonja 2025 release date July 31, 2025 Russia August 13, 2025 limited US release genre fantasy action adventure director M. J. Bassett writer Tasha Huo main cast Matilda Lutz WallisDay Robert Sheehan Michael Bisping Martin Ford Rona Mitra Veronica Fares producers Luke Lieberman Mark Canton Courtney Solomon Joe Gatta Avi Lerner official budget information not publicly available. When discussing Matilda Lutz's performance in Red Sonja, one of the most interesting comparisons can be made with her work in films such as Medici, Revenge Ride, and other action-oriented projects where she demonstrated physical commitment and screen presence. However, Red Sonja demands a much larger level of responsibility because she is carrying an entire fantasy franchise on her shoulders. Throughout the movie, Matilda Lutz delivers a performance that balances toughness, determination, survival instincts, and emotional vulnerability. She successfully presents Red Sonja as a warrior who is capable of fighting powerful enemies while still feeling human and relatable. One of the strongest aspects of the film is the effort to modernize the legendary comic book character for a contemporary audience while maintaining the spirit that made the character famous in the first place. The movie immediately establishes a world filled with danger, violence, political power struggles, survival, and revenge. Unlike many fantasy films that spend excessive time explaining their mythology, Red Sonja moves quickly into its primary conflicts and allows viewers to understand the world through the experiences of its characters. This approach helps maintain momentum and keeps the audience engaged from the beginning. The visual style of the movie is one of its most noticeable strengths. The filmmakers attempt to create a fantasy environment that feels both classic and modern. Large landscapes, battle sequences, warrior costumes, ancient locations, and fantasy-inspired environments help establish an adventurous atmosphere. While some visual effects may not always reach the level of major Hollywood fantasy blockbusters, the movie still succeeds in creating a world that feels larger than everyday reality. The production embraces the sword and sorcery genre without apology, which will likely appeal to viewers who enjoy classic fantasy adventures. The action sequences deserve special attention because they represent a major part of the movie's identity. Red Sonja is a warrior first and foremost, and the film understands that audiences expect impressive combat scenes. The fight choreography focuses on physical movement, sword combat, survival instincts, and direct confrontation. Matilda Lutz clearly committed significant effort to the physical requirements of the role, and that dedication becomes visible throughout the action scenes. Instead of relying entirely on digital effects, many confrontations emphasize practical movement and weapon-based combat, helping the action feel grounded within the fantasy setting. Another positive aspect of the movie is its focus on resilience. Red Sonja is not portrayed as an invincible superhero who succeeds effortlessly. Instead, she experiences hardship, danger, setbacks, and personal challenges that test her determination. This approach makes her journey more engaging because viewers can appreciate the effort required to overcome obstacles. The character's strength comes not only from physical ability but also from persistence, courage, and refusal to surrender in difficult situations. These qualities help make her a compelling protagonist and contribute to the emotional effectiveness of the story. The supporting cast also contributes significantly to the overall experience. Robert Sheehan brings energy and presence to the film, helping create memorable interactions that add tension and unpredictability. WallisDay delivers a performance that provides additional emotional layers to the narrative, while Rona Mitra and Veronica Fares add experience and credibility to the cast. Rather than existing merely as background characters, many supporting roles contribute meaningfully to the atmosphere and progression of the story. Their presence helps expand the world beyond the central protagonist and creates a more complete fantasy adventure. One of the movie's strongest themes is survival. Characters are frequently forced to make difficult decisions in dangerous circumstances, and the narrative emphasizes determination over perfection. This focus on survival helps create emotional investment because the audience understands that success is never guaranteed. The story repeatedly highlights the importance of courage, adaptability, and perseverance when confronting overwhelming challenges. These themes fit naturally within the fantasy genre and reinforce the heroic qualities associated with Red Sonja as a character. The direction by M.J. Bassett demonstrates a clear appreciation for fantasy storytelling. The film embraces adventure, combat, mythology, and larger-than-life characters without becoming overly complicated. Instead of attempting to reinvent every aspect of the genre, it focuses on delivering an entertaining experience built around action, character determination, and visual spectacle. This straightforward approach allows the movie to remain accessible to viewers who may not be deeply familiar with the source material. Longtime fans of the character may appreciate seeing elements of the classic warrior legend adapted for a modern audience, while newcomers can still follow the story without difficulty. From an entertainment perspective, the movie works best when it focuses on action, adventure, and character-driven momentum. The pacing generally keeps the narrative moving forward, ensuring that viewers remain interested in what happens next. There is a consistent sense of progression throughout the film as challenges emerge, conflicts intensify, and characters are forced to respond to changing circumstances. This structure helps maintain engagement and prevents the story from feeling stagnant. Another noteworthy element is the movie's attempt to balance strength and vulnerability within its protagonist. Many action heroes are portrayed as nearly unstoppable, but Red Sonja feels more interesting because she experiences moments of uncertainty and emotional struggle. These moments add depth to the character and make her victories more satisfying because they feel earned rather than inevitable. The audience is encouraged to admire her not simply because she is powerful, but because she continues fighting despite adversity. This emotional dimension helps distinguish the film from more generic action adventures. Fans of fantasy cinema will likely appreciate the movie's commitment to genre traditions. Ancient rivalries, dangerous enemies, heroic determination, intense battles, and larger-than-life conflicts all contribute to the experience. While the film may not possess the enormous budget of major studio fantasy franchises, it demonstrates enthusiasm for the material and a genuine desire to entertain audiences who enjoy sword and sorcery storytelling. The combination of action, mythology, survival, and adventure creates an experience that feels consistent with the expectations associated with the Red Sonja name. Overall, Red Sonja 2025 succeeds as a fantasy action adventure that places a strong female warrior at the center of an exciting and dangerous world. Matilda Lutz delivers a committed performance, the action sequences provide entertainment, the fantasy setting creates atmosphere, and the supporting cast helps strengthen the narrative. Although some viewers may compare it to larger fantasy productions, the film works best when appreciated as a character-driven adventure focused on courage, resilience, and survival. For audiences who enjoy fantasy warriors, sword combat, mythical worlds, and action-focused storytelling, Red Sonja offers an entertaining experience that honors the spirit of the iconic character while introducing her to a new generation of viewers. Red Sonja 2025 continues to stand out because of the way it embraces the classic fantasy adventure formula while attempting to present its central character as more than just a warrior defined by combat. One of the movie's most interesting achievements is its effort to create a protagonist whose determination and resilience remain the driving forces behind the story. Rather than focusing exclusively on action sequences, the film spends time showing how strength is developed through hardship, sacrifice, and the willingness to keep moving forward even when circumstances become overwhelming. This approach helps make Red Sonja feel like a complete character rather than simply an action hero moving from one battle to another. Throughout the film, audiences are reminded that courage is not the absence of fear but the ability to act despite it, and that theme becomes one of the strongest emotional foundations supporting the narrative. Matilda Lutz continues to be the centerpiece of the movie. Carrying a fantasy action film is not an easy responsibility because the lead performer must convince audiences both physically and emotionally. Lutz succeeds because she brings a combination of athletic commitment, confidence, and emotional presence to the role. When compared with many modern action protagonists, her interpretation of Red Sonja feels refreshingly direct. She is not presented as a flawless warrior who effortlessly defeats every obstacle. Instead, she is portrayed as someone who survives through persistence, adaptability, and determination. This approach makes her victories feel earned and helps create a stronger connection between the audience and the character. Fans of fantasy heroes often appreciate protagonists who struggle before succeeding, and Red Sonja fits comfortably into that tradition. Another aspect worth discussing is the movie's relationship with classic sword and sorcery storytelling. The film clearly draws inspiration from older fantasy adventures that emphasized dangerous journeys, powerful enemies, hidden threats, and larger-than-life conflicts. Rather than attempting to transform itself into a complex political fantasy or a deeply philosophical epic, the movie remains focused on delivering adventure. This straightforward approach works in its favor because it understands what many viewers are expecting when they watch a Red Sonja film. The audience wants action, excitement, danger, and heroic determination, and the movie generally provides those elements in consistent fashion. By staying committed to its genre identity, the film creates an experience that feels confident rather than confused. The visual atmosphere continues to be one of the film's stronger qualities. Fantasy movies succeed when they create worlds that feel distinct from everyday reality, and Red Sonja makes a noticeable effort in that regard. Costumes, locations, weapon designs, and environmental details all contribute to the sense that viewers have entered a different world governed by its own rules and traditions. The production design may not have the resources of the biggest fantasy blockbusters, but it demonstrates creativity and enthusiasm. These visual details help immerse audiences in the story and reinforce the adventurous tone that defines much of the movie. A fantasy world does not necessarily need enormous scale to feel engaging, it simply needs consistency and imagination, both of which are present throughout much of the film. The action sequences remain among the most entertaining aspects of the experience. Sword combat serves as a defining feature of the movie, and many of the fight scenes emphasize movement, strategy, and physical effort rather than relying entirely on visual effects. This approach creates a stronger sense of impact because viewers can appreciate the physical demands placed upon the characters. Combat scenes feel connected to the story rather than existing purely as spectacle. Each confrontation reflects personal stakes, survival instincts, or larger conflicts that influence the narrative. By ensuring that action serves a purpose within the story, the movie avoids becoming repetitive and maintains audience engagement throughout its runtime. One of the more interesting themes explored in the film is the idea of personal destiny. Characters frequently face questions about identity, purpose, and the paths they choose to follow. Red Sonja herself represents the struggle between accepting circumstances and actively shaping one's future. The narrative suggests that destiny is not simply something assigned to a person but something influenced by decisions, sacrifices, and perseverance. This theme adds emotional depth to the story because it encourages viewers to think about the role personal choice plays in defining who we become. Although the film remains primarily an action-adventure, moments like these provide additional layers beneath the surface excitement. The supporting cast continues to contribute positively to the overall experience. Robert Sheehan brings energy and unpredictability to his scenes, creating memorable interactions that help break up the intensity of the action. WallisDay adds additional emotional weight, while Rona Mitra and Veronica Fares bring experience and authority that strengthen the world building. A strong supporting cast is important in fantasy storytelling because it helps create the sense that the world extends beyond the protagonist. Red Sonja benefits from characters who feel like participants in the story rather than simple background figures. Their presence enriches the narrative and provides opportunities for additional emotional and dramatic development. Another strength of the movie is its focus on perseverance. Throughout the narrative, characters encounter situations that would cause many individuals to give up. However, persistence becomes one of the defining qualities separating heroes from those who surrender to circumstances. The movie repeatedly reinforces the idea that determination can be just as important as physical strength. This message resonates because it reflects challenges that exist beyond fantasy settings. Audiences can connect with stories about perseverance because they mirror struggles people face in everyday life. The ability to continue despite setbacks remains a universally admired quality, and Red Sonja embraces that theme effectively. The pacing generally works in the movie's favor because there is a consistent sense of forward movement. New challenges emerge regularly, forcing characters to adapt and respond. This progression keeps the narrative from feeling stagnant and ensures that viewers remain interested in what happens next. While some scenes focus on character interactions and world building, the story rarely loses sight of its central objective. The balance between action and narrative development helps create an experience that feels both entertaining and purposeful. Fantasy adventures often struggle when they become too focused on exposition, but Red Sonja typically avoids that problem by maintaining momentum. The film also deserves credit for portraying strength in multiple forms. Physical power is certainly important within the story, but emotional resilience, loyalty, courage, and self-belief are equally significant. Red Sonja succeeds because she embodies all of these qualities rather than relying solely on combat ability. Her journey illustrates that true strength involves persistence, adaptability, and a willingness to confront challenges directly. This broader definition of strength helps make the character more compelling and gives audiences additional reasons to invest in her story. Another noteworthy element is the movie's appreciation for adventure as a genre. Adventure stories succeed when they create a sense of discovery, danger, and excitement, and Red Sonja consistently pursues those goals. The narrative encourages viewers to become invested in the journey rather than focusing exclusively on the destination. Obstacles, encounters, conflicts, and personal growth all contribute to the sense that the characters are participating in a larger quest. This adventurous spirit remains one of the most enjoyable aspects of the film and helps distinguish it from more grounded action movies. Ultimately, Red Sonja 2025 succeeds because it understands what type of experience it wants to provide. It is a fantasy adventure built around courage, survival, determination, and action. The film does not attempt to become something completely different from its source material. Instead, it embraces the traditions that made the character popular while introducing elements designed to appeal to modern audiences. Strong commitment from Matilda Lutz, energetic action sequences, imaginative world building, and a clear appreciation for fantasy storytelling combine to create a movie that delivers exactly what many viewers expect from a sword and sorcery adventure. For fans of heroic fantasy, warrior protagonists, and action-driven storytelling, Red Sonja remains an entertaining and worthwhile viewing experience that celebrates resilience, courage, and the enduring appeal of classic adventure cinema. Red Sonja 2025 continues to build upon the foundations established earlier in the film by focusing on the qualities that make its central character compelling beyond her skills as a warrior. One of the most appealing aspects of the movie is its emphasis on determination and endurance. Throughout the adventure, Red Sonja faces situations that test her physically, emotionally, and mentally, and the film repeatedly demonstrates that her greatest strength is not simply her ability to fight but her refusal to surrender when confronted by overwhelming challenges. This approach helps create a protagonist who feels more relatable and inspiring because audiences can recognize the value of persistence even within a fantasy setting. Matilda Lutz continues to deliver a committed performance that strengthens every major scene in which she appears. Her portrayal balances confidence with vulnerability, ensuring that the character never feels invincible or disconnected from the audience. When compared to many modern action heroes, Red Sonja stands out because her victories are achieved through effort and resilience rather than effortless superiority. The film benefits greatly from this approach because it allows viewers to become invested in her journey and appreciate the obstacles she must overcome. Another notable aspect of the movie is the way it embraces the adventurous spirit of classic fantasy storytelling. Rather than focusing heavily on complex mythology or elaborate political intrigue, the narrative remains centered on survival, conflict, personal growth, and the pursuit of justice. This straightforward storytelling style helps maintain momentum and keeps the audience engaged. The movie understands that adventure is most effective when viewers feel a sense of forward movement, and each new challenge contributes to that feeling of progression. The fantasy world itself remains one of the film's strongest elements. Through costumes, locations, weapon designs, and environmental details, the production creates a setting that feels distinct from ordinary reality. Even though the film may not possess the enormous budget of major fantasy franchises, it demonstrates creativity and commitment to world building. These visual details help immerse audiences in the story and reinforce the sense of danger and excitement that defines the adventure. The action sequences continue to provide some of the movie's most entertaining moments. Sword fights are staged with energy and purpose, emphasizing physical effort and tactical decision-making rather than relying entirely on visual effects. This focus on practical combat helps the action feel grounded within the fantasy setting and gives each confrontation greater impact. The audience can appreciate the skill and determination required to survive these encounters, making the action more engaging than simple spectacle. The supporting cast also deserves recognition for helping create a richer narrative experience. Characters surrounding Red Sonja contribute additional perspectives, motivations, and emotional dimensions that expand the world beyond the central protagonist. Their presence reinforces the idea that the adventure affects many lives and that the conflicts extend beyond a single individual. This broader perspective helps make the story feel larger and more meaningful. One of the most effective themes explored in the film is courage. Courage is portrayed not as fearlessness but as the willingness to continue despite fear and uncertainty. Red Sonja repeatedly encounters situations that would intimidate most people, yet she continues moving forward because she believes in her purpose and refuses to be defeated by adversity. This message resonates because courage is a quality admired across cultures and generations. The film's emphasis on bravery, determination, and perseverance gives the story emotional weight beyond its action and fantasy elements. Another strength of the movie is its treatment of loyalty. Several characters are forced to make decisions that test their commitments to friends, allies, and personal values. These moments add emotional depth because they remind viewers that meaningful relationships often require sacrifice and difficult choices. Loyalty becomes more than a simple concept, it becomes a force that shapes character behavior and influences the direction of the narrative. The pacing remains effective because the story continues introducing new obstacles while allowing enough time for character development. Viewers are given opportunities to understand motivations and emotional stakes without losing the sense of adventure. This balance helps maintain engagement throughout the film and ensures that action scenes feel connected to the larger story. The movie also succeeds in portraying strength as something that extends beyond physical power. Emotional resilience, determination, self-belief, and the ability to learn from hardship all contribute to Red Sonja's success. By presenting strength in multiple forms, the film creates a more complete and inspiring protagonist. Audiences are encouraged to admire her not only for her combat abilities but also for her character and perseverance. Visually, the film continues to support its themes through atmospheric environments and strong production design. Ancient locations, rugged landscapes, and fantasy-inspired architecture contribute to the sense that the characters inhabit a world filled with danger and possibility. These visual elements enhance immersion and help maintain the adventurous tone that defines the movie. Another notable feature is the film's appreciation for the traditions of the sword and sorcery genre. It embraces heroic quests, dangerous enemies, intense battles, and larger-than-life conflicts while avoiding unnecessary complexity. This focus allows the movie to remain accessible to newcomers while still offering familiar elements that longtime fantasy fans can appreciate. The combination of adventure, action, and character-focused storytelling creates an experience that feels consistent with the legacy of the Red Sonja character. Ultimately, Red Sonja 2025 succeeds because it understands the appeal of heroic fantasy. Strong performances, entertaining action sequences, imaginative world building, and meaningful themes combine to create a film that remains engaging from beginning to end. While it may not attempt to reinvent the genre, it delivers an enjoyable adventure centered on courage, loyalty, resilience, and determination. For viewers who appreciate fantasy warriors, epic journeys, and stories about overcoming adversity, Red Sonja offers an experience that captures the excitement and spirit of classic adventure cinema while introducing the legendary character to a modern audience. Red Sonja 2025 continues to deliver its strongest moments through the determination, resilience, and presence of its central heroine, proving that the film's success depends less on spectacle and more on the audience's investment in the journey of a warrior who refuses to accept defeat regardless of the challenges placed before her. One of the most impressive qualities of the movie is the way it presents Red Sonja as a character whose strength is earned rather than simply given. Throughout the story she is forced to confront danger, uncertainty, betrayal, and powerful enemies, yet every obstacle becomes an opportunity to demonstrate the qualities that define her as a hero. Matilda Lutz remains the heart of the film, bringing energy, physical commitment, and emotional credibility to the role. Her performance succeeds because she never portrays the character as invulnerable. Instead, she allows viewers to see moments of doubt, frustration, and determination, making the victories feel more satisfying because they are achieved through effort and persistence. The fantasy setting continues to play a major role in creating the atmosphere of the movie. Ancient kingdoms, hostile territories, mysterious environments, and dangerous adversaries contribute to a world that feels adventurous and unpredictable. The production design may not have the scale of the biggest fantasy franchises, but it effectively creates an environment that supports the narrative and enhances immersion. Every location feels connected to the tone of the story, helping audiences believe in the world and the challenges faced by its characters. The action remains one of the film's most entertaining features. Sword fights are energetic, physical, and focused on survival rather than excessive visual effects. This approach helps the combat feel authentic within the fantasy setting and allows viewers to appreciate the skill, courage, and determination required during each confrontation. The movie understands that action scenes are most effective when they carry emotional stakes, and many of the battles feel meaningful because they represent important moments in the journey of the characters involved. Another strength of the film is its emphasis on perseverance. Red Sonja repeatedly encounters situations that appear impossible to overcome, yet she continues moving forward because surrender is never presented as an acceptable option. This theme resonates strongly because perseverance is a quality admired both within fiction and in real life. Audiences can connect with stories about individuals who continue fighting despite adversity, and the movie uses this theme effectively to maintain emotional engagement. The supporting cast contributes additional depth to the story by introducing different perspectives, motivations, and personal struggles. These characters help create a broader sense of world building and ensure that the narrative feels larger than the experiences of a single protagonist. Their interactions with Red Sonja reveal different aspects of her personality and allow viewers to see how her actions influence those around her. Loyalty continues to be an important theme throughout the film. Characters are frequently required to choose between personal safety and commitment to others, creating emotional tension that extends beyond physical conflict. These decisions help add depth to the narrative because they emphasize that heroism often involves sacrifice and difficult choices. The pacing remains effective, maintaining a steady sense of progression while allowing enough time for character moments and world building. The film avoids becoming overwhelmed by exposition and instead focuses on moving the story forward through action, decisions, and evolving relationships. Visually, the movie maintains a consistent fantasy atmosphere that supports its adventurous tone. Costumes, weapons, and environments contribute to the sense that viewers are witnessing events within a world shaped by conflict, survival, and legend. Another aspect that deserves recognition is the film's commitment to the classic sword and sorcery tradition. Rather than attempting to imitate every modern fantasy trend, Red Sonja embraces the elements that originally made the genre popular, including dangerous journeys, formidable enemies, heroic determination, and larger-than-life challenges. This respect for genre traditions gives the movie a clear identity and allows it to appeal to audiences who appreciate straightforward fantasy adventure. The emotional core of the story remains the journey of a woman determined to overcome every obstacle placed in her path. By combining action, adventure, resilience, courage, and strong character focus, the film creates an experience that remains engaging throughout its runtime. While some viewers may compare it to larger fantasy productions, Red Sonja works best when appreciated as a character-driven adventure that prioritizes determination and survival over excessive complexity. Ultimately, the movie succeeds because it delivers exactly what many fans hope to find in a fantasy warrior story: a memorable heroine, exciting action, a dangerous world, meaningful challenges, and a narrative built around courage and perseverance. Through strong performances, energetic combat, immersive world building, and consistent thematic focus, Red Sonja 2025 establishes itself as an entertaining fantasy adventure that celebrates the enduring appeal of heroic storytelling and the timeless idea that true strength comes not from power alone but from the willingness to continue fighting when every reason to quit seems to exist. Red Sonja 2025 further strengthens its identity as a fantasy action adventure by continuing to focus on the qualities that have made warrior heroes popular for generations, particularly courage, determination, resilience, and the willingness to stand against overwhelming odds. One of the reasons the film remains engaging is that it treats its protagonist as a person shaped by experience rather than simply as an action figure moving from one battle to another. Matilda Lutz continues to deliver a performance that combines physical intensity with emotional presence, helping viewers connect with Red Sonja beyond her combat abilities. Her portrayal emphasizes that true strength is often revealed through persistence, self-belief, and the ability to recover after setbacks. This approach gives the character a sense of humanity that helps distinguish her from many generic action heroes. Throughout the film, Red Sonja is repeatedly challenged by dangerous circumstances, difficult decisions, and powerful opponents, yet the narrative consistently reinforces the idea that resilience is one of her defining qualities. The fantasy setting remains an important contributor to the movie's appeal. Ancient landscapes, imposing fortresses, mysterious environments, and battle-scarred territories help create a world that feels adventurous and unpredictable. The production design demonstrates a clear appreciation for the visual traditions of fantasy storytelling, using costumes, weapons, and environmental details to establish an atmosphere that supports the narrative. Even when the story focuses on character interactions rather than action, the world itself remains interesting enough to maintain audience engagement. This sense of place is essential in fantasy cinema because viewers must believe that the characters inhabit a reality governed by its own history, conflicts, and traditions. The action sequences continue to be among the most entertaining aspects of the film. Rather than relying entirely on digital spectacle, many of the combat scenes emphasize physical movement, tactical choices, and weapon-based confrontations. This approach helps make the action feel more immediate and believable within the context of the story. Every major confrontation carries emotional significance because it represents a challenge that must be overcome in order for the journey to continue. The audience is encouraged to view these battles not simply as displays of skill but as tests of determination and character. One of the strongest themes explored in the movie is the relationship between adversity and growth. Red Sonja is not presented as someone who succeeds effortlessly. Instead, she grows stronger through hardship and learns valuable lessons from the obstacles she encounters. This emphasis on growth through struggle gives the story additional emotional depth and allows viewers to appreciate the character's achievements more fully. Audiences often connect most strongly with heroes who must earn their victories, and Red Sonja embodies that tradition effectively. The supporting cast continues to play an important role in enriching the narrative. Each supporting character contributes unique perspectives and motivations that expand the world beyond the experiences of the protagonist. Their interactions create opportunities for emotional development, tension, and moments of reflection that help balance the action-driven elements of the story. Strong supporting performances also reinforce the sense that the fantasy world is populated by individuals with their own goals and challenges rather than existing solely to support the hero's journey. Another aspect worth highlighting is the film's exploration of leadership. Throughout the story, Red Sonja demonstrates qualities associated with effective leadership, including courage, responsibility, adaptability, and the ability to inspire confidence in others. These qualities become increasingly important as the challenges facing the characters grow more significant. The movie suggests that leadership is not simply about authority but about earning trust through actions and remaining committed to a larger purpose even during difficult times. This theme adds another layer to the protagonist's character and contributes to the overall sense of progression within the narrative. The pacing remains consistent and effective, maintaining a balance between action, character development, and world building. New challenges emerge frequently enough to keep the story moving forward, while quieter moments provide opportunities for emotional reflection and relationship development. This balance helps prevent the film from feeling repetitive and ensures that audiences remain invested in both the narrative and the characters. The movie understands that successful adventure storytelling requires momentum, and it generally succeeds in maintaining a strong sense of forward movement throughout its runtime. Visually, the film continues to support its themes through environments that emphasize both beauty and danger. Expansive landscapes, rugged terrain, and ancient structures contribute to the atmosphere of a world shaped by conflict and survival. These visual elements help reinforce the adventurous spirit that defines much of the movie and provide a strong backdrop for the action and character interactions. Another strength of Red Sonja is its commitment to the traditions of classic fantasy adventure. The film embraces heroic quests, formidable enemies, personal sacrifice, and larger-than-life challenges without becoming overly complicated. This focus allows it to remain accessible to viewers who simply want an entertaining fantasy experience while still offering enough thematic depth to reward those interested in character-driven storytelling. The movie never loses sight of its primary goal, which is to deliver an engaging adventure centered on a strong and determined heroine. The emotional core of the story remains one of perseverance and self-belief. Red Sonja repeatedly proves that success is not determined solely by physical power but by the willingness to continue fighting despite fear, uncertainty, and adversity. This message resonates because it reflects challenges people face beyond the world of fantasy. Audiences can admire characters who demonstrate resilience because those qualities are valuable in real life as well. By emphasizing persistence over perfection, the movie creates a protagonist whose journey feels both inspiring and relatable. Ultimately, Red Sonja 2025 succeeds because it understands the timeless appeal of heroic adventure. Strong performances, entertaining action, imaginative world building, meaningful themes, and a clear appreciation for fantasy traditions combine to create a film that remains enjoyable from beginning to end. Matilda Lutz anchors the story with a committed and energetic performance, while the supporting cast, visual presentation, and action sequences contribute to a satisfying overall experience. The film may not attempt to reinvent the fantasy genre, but it effectively celebrates the elements that have made sword and sorcery adventures popular for decades. For viewers who enjoy tales of courage, determination, survival, and epic journeys, Red Sonja offers a rewarding experience that captures the spirit of classic fantasy storytelling while presenting a modern interpretation of one of the genre's most iconic warrior characters. Red Sonja 2025 continues to hold attention because it understands that fantasy adventures work best when viewers care about the hero at the center of the story, and throughout the film the journey of Red Sonja remains the driving force behind every major conflict, challenge, and emotional moment. Matilda Lutz delivers a performance that grows more impressive as the story progresses because she manages to present the character as both a fierce warrior and a determined survivor whose strength comes from experience, resilience, and an unwillingness to accept defeat. One of the most appealing aspects of the movie is that Red Sonja is not portrayed as someone who wins every battle effortlessly. Instead, the film repeatedly shows that success often requires sacrifice, perseverance, and the courage to continue when circumstances seem impossible. This approach creates a stronger emotional connection with audiences because viewers are able to appreciate the effort behind every achievement. The fantasy world remains one of the movie's greatest strengths, providing a setting filled with danger, mystery, and adventure that constantly reinforces the feeling that anything can happen. Ancient ruins, hostile territories, powerful enemies, and unpredictable environments contribute to an atmosphere of exploration and survival, helping the story maintain excitement from beginning to end. The production design deserves recognition for creating a world that feels larger than the events taking place within it, suggesting histories, conflicts, and cultures that extend beyond what is directly shown on screen. This sense of scale enhances immersion and allows viewers to become fully invested in the adventure. The action sequences continue to be among the film's most enjoyable elements because they emphasize physical skill, determination, and tactical thinking rather than relying entirely on visual spectacle. Sword fights feel energetic and purposeful, with each confrontation serving as more than just entertainment. Every battle carries narrative importance and reflects the growth, challenges, and emotional stakes facing the characters involved. The movie understands that action becomes more meaningful when audiences care about the outcome, and many of its strongest sequences succeed because they combine physical conflict with emotional investment. Another theme that becomes increasingly important throughout the film is self-belief. Red Sonja repeatedly finds herself in situations where doubt could easily become overwhelming, yet she continues moving forward because she believes in her ability to overcome adversity. This message resonates because self-belief is often the foundation upon which success is built, both within fiction and in real life. The film encourages viewers to admire determination and confidence without suggesting that success comes easily. Instead, it emphasizes the importance of persistence and personal growth. The supporting cast continues to strengthen the narrative by adding depth and variety to the story. Different characters introduce new perspectives, motivations, and challenges that help expand the world and create a more engaging experience. Their interactions with Red Sonja reveal different aspects of her personality and demonstrate how leadership, loyalty, and trust influence relationships within the story. These supporting performances contribute significantly to the overall quality of the film because they ensure that the adventure feels populated by meaningful individuals rather than simple background figures. One of the movie's most effective qualities is its commitment to classic heroic storytelling. It embraces themes such as courage, sacrifice, honor, resilience, and personal responsibility without becoming overly complicated. This straightforward approach allows the film to remain accessible while still providing enough emotional depth to maintain audience interest. Viewers who appreciate traditional fantasy adventures will likely enjoy the way the movie celebrates the enduring appeal of heroes who confront danger in pursuit of a greater purpose. The pacing remains effective because the narrative continues moving forward through a combination of action, exploration, and character development. New obstacles emerge frequently enough to sustain momentum, while quieter scenes provide opportunities for reflection and growth. This balance helps prevent the story from feeling repetitive and allows emotional moments to have greater impact. The film demonstrates a clear understanding of how to structure an adventure narrative, ensuring that audiences remain invested in both the journey and the destination. Visually, the movie continues to reinforce its fantasy identity through strong environmental design, detailed costumes, and atmospheric locations. The world feels dangerous yet fascinating, encouraging viewers to become immersed in its conflicts and mysteries. These visual elements contribute to the overall sense of adventure and help distinguish the film from more conventional action movies. Another important theme explored throughout the story is the idea that strength exists in many forms. Physical power is certainly important, but the movie also highlights emotional resilience, determination, leadership, loyalty, and adaptability as equally valuable qualities. Red Sonja succeeds not simply because she can fight but because she refuses to surrender when confronted with challenges that would discourage others. This broader definition of strength gives the character greater depth and makes her journey more inspiring. The film also benefits from its willingness to embrace the adventurous spirit that defines the sword and sorcery genre. Dangerous quests, powerful adversaries, unexpected challenges, and larger-than-life conflicts all contribute to an experience that feels exciting and engaging. Rather than attempting to transform itself into something entirely different, the movie embraces the traditions that made fantasy adventures popular in the first place. This confidence in its identity helps create a viewing experience that feels focused and consistent. Ultimately, Red Sonja 2025 succeeds because it delivers what many fantasy fans hope to find in a heroic adventure. Strong performances, exciting action, immersive world building, meaningful themes, and a compelling central character combine to create a movie that remains entertaining throughout its runtime. Matilda Lutz anchors the film with a committed portrayal that captures both the strength and humanity of Red Sonja, while the supporting cast, visual presentation, and action sequences provide additional reasons for audiences to remain invested. By focusing on courage, perseverance, self-belief, leadership, and resilience, the movie creates an experience that goes beyond simple spectacle and offers a story about overcoming adversity through determination and strength of character. For viewers who enjoy fantasy worlds, warrior heroes, epic challenges, and character-driven adventures, Red Sonja stands as an enjoyable and worthwhile addition to the modern fantasy genre, proving that classic heroic storytelling can still resonate when supported by passion, commitment, and a clear understanding of what makes adventure cinema exciting. Red Sonja 2025 continues to reinforce the idea that a memorable fantasy adventure depends not only on action and spectacle but also on the emotional journey of its protagonist, and this film consistently succeeds because it keeps Red Sonja at the center of every meaningful development while allowing her character to evolve through challenges, sacrifices, and hard-earned victories. Matilda Lutz remains the driving force behind the movie, delivering a performance that combines physical strength with emotional determination, making Red Sonja feel like more than a traditional action hero. One of the most appealing aspects of her portrayal is the sense that every achievement comes through effort rather than destiny alone. The film repeatedly places her in situations where survival depends on intelligence, adaptability, courage, and perseverance, reinforcing the idea that true heroism is measured not by power but by the willingness to continue despite adversity. This message gives the story emotional weight and helps audiences remain invested in her journey from beginning to end. The fantasy setting continues to provide a rich backdrop for the adventure, creating a world filled with danger, uncertainty, and opportunities for discovery. Ancient landscapes, ruined structures, imposing fortresses, and harsh environments contribute to a sense of scale that enhances immersion and strengthens the atmosphere. The production design deserves praise for helping establish a believable fantasy world that feels lived in rather than artificial. Every location contributes something unique to the experience, reinforcing the idea that Red Sonja exists within a larger world shaped by conflict, history, and survival. This attention to environmental storytelling helps maintain audience engagement and adds depth to the overall narrative. The action remains one of the movie's strongest features, and the combat sequences continue to emphasize physical effort and determination rather than relying exclusively on visual effects. Sword fights are energetic and purposeful, allowing viewers to appreciate the skill and commitment required to survive in such a dangerous world. Each confrontation serves a narrative purpose, whether advancing the plot, revealing character traits, or increasing the stakes of the journey. This integration of action and storytelling helps prevent the battles from feeling repetitive and ensures that they remain emotionally engaging throughout the film. Another significant strength of Red Sonja is its exploration of resilience. The protagonist repeatedly encounters setbacks, obstacles, and moments of uncertainty, yet she refuses to abandon her goals. The movie portrays resilience not as an innate quality but as something developed through experience and hardship. This approach makes the character more relatable because viewers can recognize the value of persistence in their own lives. The story suggests that strength is not defined by the absence of failure but by the ability to continue moving forward after setbacks, and that message remains one of the most powerful themes running throughout the film. The supporting cast continues to contribute meaningful depth to the narrative. Characters surrounding Red Sonja bring different perspectives, motivations, and emotional dynamics that enrich the story and expand the world beyond the experiences of a single hero. Their interactions reveal additional layers of personality and create opportunities for conflict, cooperation, and character development. A strong supporting cast is essential in fantasy storytelling because it helps create the sense that the world exists independently of the protagonist, and Red Sonja benefits greatly from characters who feel like active participants in the adventure rather than passive observers. Loyalty remains an important theme throughout the movie, influencing many of the decisions made by the characters. The film explores the challenges associated with remaining loyal to friends, allies, and personal principles when circumstances become difficult. These situations create emotional tension because loyalty often requires sacrifice, courage, and difficult choices. By emphasizing the importance of commitment and trust, the narrative adds emotional depth to the adventure and encourages viewers to consider the value of standing by others during times of uncertainty. The pacing continues to support the story effectively by balancing action, exploration, and character-focused moments. New challenges appear frequently enough to maintain momentum, while quieter scenes provide opportunities for reflection and growth. This balance allows the audience to become invested not only in what happens next but also in how the characters respond to each situation. The movie understands that adventure is most satisfying when viewers care about the people experiencing it, and the pacing reflects that understanding. Visually, the film remains committed to its fantasy identity through strong costume design, atmospheric locations, and environmental details that reinforce the tone of the story. The world feels dangerous, unpredictable, and filled with possibilities, helping sustain the sense of adventure that defines the genre. These visual elements work together to create a consistent experience that supports both the action and the emotional themes of the narrative. Another noteworthy aspect of the movie is its treatment of leadership. As the story progresses, Red Sonja demonstrates qualities that extend beyond combat skill, including responsibility, confidence, determination, and the ability to inspire others. These leadership qualities become increasingly important as the stakes grow larger and the challenges become more demanding. The film suggests that leadership is earned through actions rather than titles, and Red Sonja's journey reflects that principle effectively. The movie also benefits from its appreciation of classic sword and sorcery traditions. Heroic quests, dangerous enemies, personal sacrifice, survival, and larger-than-life conflicts remain central components of the narrative, helping the film capture the spirit of the fantasy adventures that inspired it. Rather than attempting to abandon those traditions, the movie embraces them and presents them in a way that feels accessible to modern audiences. This respect for genre conventions contributes to the film's sense of identity and helps it appeal to fans of fantasy storytelling. Ultimately, Red Sonja 2025 succeeds because it understands the timeless appeal of a determined hero facing impossible odds. Through strong performances, engaging action, immersive world building, and meaningful themes, the movie delivers an adventure that remains entertaining while also offering messages about courage, perseverance, loyalty, leadership, and self-belief. Matilda Lutz provides a committed and energetic portrayal of the iconic warrior, ensuring that audiences remain invested in her journey from beginning to end. Combined with strong supporting performances, visually engaging environments, and a clear appreciation for fantasy traditions, the film creates an experience that captures the excitement and spirit of classic heroic storytelling. For viewers who enjoy fantasy adventures built around determination, survival, and personal growth, Red Sonja offers a rewarding experience that demonstrates why stories about courageous heroes continue to resonate across generations and remain a beloved part of the fantasy genre. Red Sonja 2025 continues to stand out as a fantasy adventure because it understands that audiences connect most strongly with characters who earn their victories through persistence, determination, and personal growth rather than through effortless success. Throughout the film, Red Sonja is presented as a warrior whose greatest strength is not simply her ability to fight but her refusal to surrender when faced with overwhelming obstacles. This quality becomes one of the defining elements of the movie and helps create an emotional connection that extends beyond the action sequences. Matilda Lutz delivers a committed performance that captures both the physical intensity and emotional resilience required for the role, ensuring that Red Sonja feels like a fully realized character rather than a simple fantasy archetype. Her portrayal allows viewers to understand the sacrifices, hardships, and challenges that shape the character's journey, making every achievement feel meaningful and deserved. One of the most impressive aspects of the film is the way it develops its fantasy world without losing focus on the personal experiences of its protagonist. The story introduces environments that feel ancient, dangerous, and unpredictable, creating a sense of constant uncertainty that strengthens the adventure. From isolated landscapes to imposing strongholds and mysterious locations, the world of Red Sonja feels expansive and alive. The production design contributes significantly to this effect by creating settings that appear authentic within the context of the story. These locations are not merely backgrounds for action scenes, they help establish mood, reinforce themes, and enhance immersion. As a result, viewers are encouraged to become invested not only in the character's journey but also in the world she inhabits. The action sequences remain a major highlight of the movie because they emphasize effort, skill, and survival rather than relying entirely on spectacle. Each confrontation carries a sense of consequence that helps maintain tension and keeps audiences engaged. The combat choreography focuses on movement, timing, and determination, allowing viewers to appreciate the challenges faced by the characters. This grounded approach makes victories feel rewarding and helps distinguish the action from more exaggerated fantasy battles. Every encounter contributes to character development in some way, whether by revealing courage, exposing weaknesses, or demonstrating growth. This integration of action and storytelling ensures that the film remains emotionally engaging even during its most intense moments. Another theme that becomes increasingly significant throughout the movie is personal responsibility. Red Sonja repeatedly faces situations where her choices influence not only her own future but also the lives of others. The film explores the weight of these decisions and emphasizes the importance of accepting responsibility for one's actions. This theme adds depth to the narrative because it highlights the challenges associated with leadership and independence. Rather than presenting heroism as something simple or effortless, the story demonstrates that being a hero often requires difficult choices, sacrifices, and a willingness to place the needs of others above personal comfort. These ideas help elevate the movie beyond straightforward adventure entertainment and provide viewers with meaningful themes to consider. The supporting cast continues to strengthen the story by introducing additional perspectives and emotional dynamics. Their relationships with Red Sonja create opportunities for trust, conflict, cooperation, and growth, helping the narrative feel more layered and engaging. Strong supporting characters are essential in fantasy storytelling because they help create the impression of a living world populated by individuals with their own goals and motivations. The film succeeds in this regard by ensuring that the people surrounding the protagonist contribute meaningfully to the overall narrative. Their presence enhances both the emotional and dramatic aspects of the story while helping maintain audience interest throughout the adventure. The movie also explores the concept of courage in a way that feels authentic and relatable. Courage is not portrayed as the absence of fear but as the ability to continue despite fear. This distinction is important because it makes the protagonist's journey more believable and inspiring. Red Sonja often finds herself facing uncertainty, danger, and overwhelming odds, yet she continues moving forward because she understands that retreat is not always an option. This portrayal of courage resonates because it reflects challenges that exist beyond the fantasy setting. Viewers can recognize the value of perseverance and determination in their own lives, making the characters' experiences feel relevant despite the fictional environment. Visually, the film remains committed to creating a distinctive fantasy atmosphere through costume design, environmental details, and carefully constructed locations. These elements work together to establish a world that feels both harsh and fascinating. The costumes reflect the practical realities of survival while also reinforcing the unique identity of the fantasy setting. Environmental details contribute to immersion by suggesting histories, conflicts, and cultures that extend beyond the immediate events of the story. This attention to visual storytelling helps maintain a strong sense of place and encourages audiences to remain engaged with the world being presented. The pacing continues to be one of the film's strengths because it balances action, character development, and exploration effectively. Moments of intensity are followed by opportunities for reflection, allowing viewers to process the emotional and thematic elements of the story before the next challenge emerges. This structure prevents fatigue and helps maintain interest throughout the narrative. The movie understands that successful adventure storytelling requires variation in tone and tempo, and it consistently demonstrates an ability to manage that balance. Another noteworthy element is the film's emphasis on adaptability. Red Sonja frequently encounters situations that require her to think creatively, adjust her strategies, and respond to unexpected developments. The story suggests that survival often depends on flexibility and resourcefulness rather than strength alone. This message adds complexity to the character and reinforces the idea that true capability involves more than physical power. The ability to learn, adapt, and overcome changing circumstances becomes a defining characteristic of the protagonist, making her journey both compelling and inspiring. Ultimately, Red Sonja 2025 succeeds because it combines strong character work, engaging action, immersive world building, and meaningful themes into a cohesive and entertaining fantasy adventure. The film celebrates qualities such as courage, perseverance, adaptability, responsibility, and resilience while providing audiences with exciting battles, memorable locations, and a protagonist worthy of admiration. Matilda Lutz delivers a performance that anchors the story emotionally and ensures that viewers remain invested in Red Sonja's journey from beginning to end. Supported by a capable cast, impressive production design, and a clear appreciation for classic fantasy storytelling, the movie offers an experience that feels both familiar and refreshing. For fans of heroic adventures, determined protagonists, and richly imagined fantasy worlds, Red Sonja provides an engaging and rewarding journey that demonstrates the enduring appeal of stories built around courage, growth, and the pursuit of a greater purpose. Red Sonja 2025 continues to demonstrate why the fantasy adventure genre remains popular with audiences across generations, combining heroic determination, challenging conflicts, and personal growth into a story that consistently rewards viewer investment. One of the film's greatest strengths is its ability to present Red Sonja as a character whose journey is defined not by perfection but by persistence. Throughout the movie, she faces obstacles that test her physical abilities, emotional endurance, and sense of purpose, yet she repeatedly chooses to confront those challenges rather than avoid them. This commitment to perseverance becomes one of the central themes of the narrative and helps create a protagonist who feels relatable despite existing within a world of fantasy and adventure. Matilda Lutz delivers a performance that captures this determination effectively, balancing strength and vulnerability in a way that allows the audience to understand the emotional weight behind many of the characters' decisions. Rather than portraying Red Sonja as an invincible warrior, the film presents her as someone who succeeds because she is willing to continue fighting when others might surrender, and this approach adds considerable depth to the story. The fantasy world itself remains one of the most engaging aspects of the movie. Every location contributes to a larger sense of history and mystery, suggesting civilizations, conflicts, and traditions that extend beyond what is directly shown on screen. This environmental storytelling strengthens immersion and encourages viewers to imagine a broader world beyond the immediate events of the narrative. The landscapes often feel harsh and unforgiving, reinforcing the challenges faced by the characters and emphasizing the importance of resilience in such a dangerous setting. The production team deserves recognition for creating an atmosphere that feels authentic within the context of the story, helping audiences become fully invested in the adventure. Visual details throughout the film work together to establish a distinctive identity that separates Red Sonja from many modern fantasy productions, giving it a unique character and tone. The action sequences continue to serve as both entertainment and character development. Rather than functioning solely as spectacles, the battles reveal important aspects of personality, motivation, and growth. Every confrontation presents an opportunity for Red Sonja to demonstrate courage, adaptability, and determination, while also exposing the risks associated with her journey. This emphasis on consequence helps maintain tension because viewers understand that success is never guaranteed. The combat choreography focuses on effort and skill, allowing the audience to appreciate the physical and mental challenges involved in survival. By ensuring that action remains connected to the emotional core of the story, the film avoids the common problem of repetitive or meaningless conflict. Another theme explored effectively throughout the movie is independence. Red Sonja is a character who relies heavily on her own abilities, judgment, and instincts, yet the film also acknowledges the challenges associated with self-reliance. Independence is portrayed as a source of strength, but it also requires responsibility, discipline, and the willingness to face difficult consequences. This balanced portrayal helps make the character more realistic and prevents the story from simplifying complex ideas. The movie suggests that true independence is not about rejecting others but about maintaining the confidence to act according to one's principles even when circumstances become difficult. This message contributes to the emotional depth of the narrative and reinforces the character's appeal. The supporting cast continues to enrich the story by introducing diverse viewpoints and emotional dynamics that complement the protagonist's journey. Their interactions with Red Sonja help reveal different dimensions of her personality while also creating opportunities for conflict, cooperation, and growth. Effective supporting characters are essential in adventure storytelling because they provide context for the hero's actions and help establish a sense of community within the narrative. The film succeeds in this regard by ensuring that secondary characters have meaningful roles rather than existing solely to support the protagonist. Their presence strengthens the emotional impact of key moments and contributes to the overall sense of immersion. Leadership emerges as another significant theme as the story progresses. Red Sonja's actions increasingly influence the people around her, demonstrating that leadership often develops through example rather than authority. The film highlights qualities such as courage, accountability, and integrity as essential components of effective leadership, encouraging viewers to recognize the value of earning trust through actions rather than words. This theme adds additional layers to the protagonist's journey and helps explain why other characters respond to her with respect and admiration. By presenting leadership as a responsibility rather than a reward, the movie offers a more nuanced perspective on heroism. The pacing remains effective because the narrative consistently alternates between moments of action, reflection, and exploration. This balance allows the story to maintain momentum without sacrificing character development or thematic depth. Quieter scenes provide opportunities for emotional growth and introspection, while action sequences deliver excitement and tension. The result is a viewing experience that feels varied and engaging, ensuring that audiences remain invested throughout the adventure. The film demonstrates a clear understanding of how pacing contributes to storytelling, using changes in tempo to enhance both emotional and dramatic impact. Visually, Red Sonja continues to impress through its commitment to practical environments, detailed costumes, and atmospheric world building. These elements help establish a sense of authenticity that strengthens the overall experience. The fantasy setting feels tangible and believable because it is supported by consistent visual design choices that reinforce the tone and themes of the story. Every environment appears to have a purpose, contributing to the narrative while also enhancing immersion. Another noteworthy aspect of the movie is its emphasis on endurance. Many of the challenges faced by Red Sonja cannot be overcome quickly or easily, requiring patience, determination, and sustained effort. The film repeatedly reinforces the idea that meaningful achievements often result from persistence rather than immediate success. This message resonates because it reflects experiences that exist beyond the fictional world of the story. Audiences can recognize the importance of endurance in their own lives, making the protagonist's journey more relatable and inspiring. Ultimately, Red Sonja 2025 succeeds because it combines compelling character development, engaging action, immersive world building, and meaningful themes into a cohesive fantasy adventure. The film celebrates perseverance, independence, leadership, courage, and resilience while delivering the excitement and spectacle that audiences expect from the genre. Matilda Lutz anchors the narrative with a strong and committed performance, ensuring that viewers remain emotionally invested in the protagonist's journey. Supported by effective pacing, memorable visual design, and a capable supporting cast, the movie offers an experience that captures the spirit of classic fantasy storytelling while remaining accessible to modern audiences. For fans of heroic adventures and character-driven fantasy narratives, Red Sonja provides an entertaining and rewarding experience that demonstrates the enduring appeal of stories centered on determination, growth, and the refusal to surrender in the face of adversity. Red Sonja 2025 continues to build upon its strongest qualities by emphasizing the importance of determination, personal growth, and unwavering resolve, creating a fantasy adventure that remains engaging because it focuses on the human qualities behind heroic achievements. The film consistently presents Red Sonja as a character who understands that survival and success require far more than physical strength. Throughout her journey, she encounters situations that challenge her confidence, test her judgment, and force her to make difficult decisions under pressure. These experiences help shape her into a more complete and compelling protagonist, allowing audiences to witness not only her victories but also the struggles that make those victories meaningful. Matilda Lutz delivers a performance that captures this evolution effectively, portraying Red Sonja as someone whose greatest strength comes from her refusal to accept defeat regardless of the circumstances. Her commitment to the role helps establish an emotional connection with viewers and ensures that the character remains the heart of the story. One of the most impressive aspects of the film is its ability to maintain a sense of adventure throughout the narrative. The world surrounding Red Sonja feels vast, dangerous, and filled with uncertainty, encouraging audiences to remain invested in what challenges may appear next. Every new environment contributes to the feeling that the protagonist is traveling through a land shaped by conflict, survival, and history. The production design plays a crucial role in creating this atmosphere, using detailed locations and carefully crafted settings to reinforce the fantasy identity of the movie. Rather than relying solely on dialogue to explain the world, the film often allows visual storytelling to communicate important information about culture, danger, and the passage of time. This approach strengthens immersion and helps the audience feel connected to the setting. The action sequences remain among the film's most entertaining features because they continue to emphasize effort, skill, and strategy. Red Sonja is frequently placed in situations where success depends not only on courage but also on the ability to adapt quickly and think clearly under pressure. This emphasis on intelligence and resourcefulness prevents the action from becoming repetitive and adds an extra layer of tension to many confrontations. The audience understands that victory is never guaranteed, which makes each battle more engaging. The choreography consistently supports the narrative by reflecting the challenges faced by the characters and revealing important aspects of their personalities. Every confrontation contributes to the story in some meaningful way, helping maintain emotional investment throughout the film. Another significant theme explored throughout the movie is self-discovery. While Red Sonja begins as a capable warrior, the journey gradually reveals additional dimensions of her character. She learns more about her own strengths, limitations, responsibilities, and values as she confronts increasingly difficult situations. This process of growth allows the audience to see her develop into a stronger and more confident individual. The film suggests that true strength comes not from avoiding challenges but from embracing them as opportunities for growth. This message resonates because it reflects experiences that many people encounter in their own lives, making the protagonist's journey feel relevant despite the fantastical setting. The supporting characters continue to contribute meaningfully to the narrative by introducing new perspectives and emotional complexities. Their relationships with Red Sonja help highlight different aspects of her personality while also expanding the scope of the story. Some interactions challenge her beliefs, while others reinforce the values that guide her decisions. These relationships create emotional variety and prevent the narrative from becoming overly focused on a single viewpoint. Strong supporting performances help establish a sense of realism within the fantasy world, making it feel populated by individuals with their own motivations and concerns rather than simple background figures. Trust remains one of the film's most important themes. Throughout the story, characters must decide who deserves confidence and loyalty, often in situations where the consequences of misplaced trust can be severe. These decisions create dramatic tension because they involve uncertainty, risk, and personal vulnerability. The film explores trust as something that must be earned through actions rather than assumed automatically. This perspective adds depth to the relationships within the narrative and helps create emotional stakes that extend beyond physical conflict. The pacing continues to support the story effectively by balancing moments of excitement with opportunities for reflection and character development. Fast-paced action sequences are complemented by quieter scenes that allow viewers to better understand the motivations, fears, and aspirations of the characters. This variety helps maintain audience engagement and prevents the film from feeling repetitive. The narrative progresses steadily, introducing new challenges while ensuring that previous developments continue to influence the direction of the story. This careful balance contributes to a satisfying viewing experience and demonstrates a strong understanding of storytelling fundamentals. Visually, the movie remains committed to creating a fantasy atmosphere that feels both epic and believable. Detailed costumes, atmospheric lighting, and thoughtfully designed environments work together to establish a world that feels distinct and memorable. The visual presentation supports the themes of survival, resilience, and adventure by constantly reminding audiences of the challenges faced by the characters. Every location appears to have its own identity, contributing to the richness of the setting and enhancing immersion. Another compelling aspect of Red Sonja is its exploration of responsibility. As the story progresses, the protagonist increasingly recognizes that her actions affect not only her own future but also the lives of those around her. This awareness adds emotional complexity to her decisions and reinforces the idea that leadership involves accountability as well as courage. The film consistently emphasizes that power and responsibility are closely connected, encouraging viewers to appreciate the importance of thoughtful decision-making. Ultimately, Red Sonja 2025 succeeds because it combines exciting action, strong character development, immersive world building, and meaningful themes into a fantasy adventure that remains engaging from beginning to end. The film celebrates perseverance, trust, self-discovery, responsibility, and resilience while delivering the excitement and spectacle expected from the genre. Matilda Lutz anchors the narrative with a performance that captures both the strength and humanity of the iconic warrior, ensuring that audiences remain emotionally invested throughout her journey. Supported by memorable visuals, effective pacing, and a capable ensemble cast, the movie creates an experience that honors the traditions of classic fantasy storytelling while offering themes and characters that feel relevant to modern audiences. For viewers who appreciate adventures built around determination, growth, and the courage to confront adversity, Red Sonja provides a rewarding and entertaining journey that demonstrates why heroic fantasy stories continue to resonate across generations. Red Sonja 2025 continues to demonstrate the enduring appeal of fantasy storytelling by presenting a protagonist whose journey is defined by resilience, conviction, and the determination to confront challenges regardless of the odds. What makes the film particularly engaging is its commitment to portraying heroism as a process rather than a fixed trait. Red Sonja is not simply introduced as a legendary warrior and left unchanged. Instead, the narrative continuously places her in situations that test her beliefs, abilities, and emotional strength. These experiences shape her development and allow viewers to witness a character who grows through hardship, learning valuable lessons about trust, responsibility, and perseverance along the way. Matilda Lutz delivers a performance that captures these qualities effectively, balancing physical intensity with emotional depth and ensuring that Red Sonja remains a compelling figure throughout the story. Her portrayal gives the audience a clear understanding of why the character continues to inspire admiration within the fantasy genre. One of the film's strongest achievements is its ability to create a sense of momentum without sacrificing character development. Every challenge encountered by Red Sonja contributes to a larger narrative about personal growth and self-discovery. Rather than relying solely on external threats to create tension, the story often explores internal conflicts that reveal additional layers of personality and motivation. This approach helps the audience connect with the protagonist on a deeper level because her struggles feel meaningful rather than superficial. The movie consistently emphasizes that true strength involves more than physical capability. Emotional resilience, adaptability, integrity, and determination all play important roles in defining the character's success. This broader understanding of heroism gives the narrative greater depth and allows it to resonate with viewers who appreciate stories about overcoming adversity. The fantasy world remains one of the movie's most appealing aspects. Through detailed environments, atmospheric locations, and carefully crafted visual design, the film creates a setting that feels expansive and immersive. Every location contributes to the sense that Red Sonja exists within a world shaped by history, conflict, and survival. resilience, and the pursuit of purpose despite overwhelming challenges, Red Sonja provides a rewarding and inspiring adventure that highlights the enduring